What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of my mission experiences here. Hey, so hear me out. Before we get started on this video, I want to bring up a quick topic. So, YouTube, I've discovered I really enjoy making these videos, and I want to make videos in the future. So, down below in the comments, if you guys would, whoever watches this, recommend what I should do next after I finish my mission experiences. I'm really genuinely interested in what you guys think, um, and I want to hear what you guys have to say. So, anyways, let's get into the video today. Here we are. We saw this picture in the last video with on the last episode. I mean, this is Elder Dixon and I on a hike. So, pretty cool hike. We had a good time on this hike. I'm trying to remember. I think this is Laguna Esmerelda, which it goes down through this valley and then you go up the side of a mountain and then there's a big, like emerald colored lake that's pretty cool up at the top of this mountain range. I think it's up here. It's up behind. You like go around these mountains. It's a long hike, nonetheless. But this is a fun picture that Elder Dixon and I took. So I really loved Elder Dixon. Elder Dixon's a good buddy of mine. Here is Claudia's baptism. So a little bit about Claudia. Claudia is just amazing. Was an amazing investigator. We would go teach her all the time. Um, when I say we, I meant we would go over there every once in a while with the sister missionaries. Sister Carrasco was teaching Claudia, and her husband Miguel. They were teaching them, Sister Carrasco and Sister Bushman, and then it was Sister Carrasco and Sister Gonzalez that were teaching Claudia. And they taught Claudia, and they'd been taught by other missionaries, but she really fell in love with the group of us that were in Montelivia. And after everything, she decided she wanted to be baptized. And so that's what she did. She took that step, and I was very lucky to be able to do her baptismal interview. And I asked her who she would like to baptize her, and she asked me to do the baptism, and it was a really special experience. And I really truly have um, such a love for Claudia and Miguel and their family. Here's Claudia right after she came out of the water, right after her baptism. Truly was a beautiful experience. Funny story about Claudia is a couple weeks after she was baptized, um, Sister Crasco had to leave the area because of her arm being broken. And when she left the area, she asked me to take over the post baptismal interview or the post baptismal lessons with Claudia, and so that's what I did. Elder um, Elder Dixon and I were working with Claudia after that, and so we start teaching Claudia the post baptismal lessons. And one day her husband walks in, and his name is Miguel, and I meet him. He comes across as he's a medium height guy, bald, well built. He's a big soccer player, owned an athletics club, and that's what he did for a living. Hosted events and things like that with his athletics club. Anyways, he walks in and he comes across as kind of a gruff guy. And I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I've met you a couple times, but what's your name?" He's like, "Miguel." And I was like, "Hey, nice to meet you. Are you interested in learning about our church?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he sits down, he listens to our lesson. He loved it. And we're like, "Do you want to come to church this week?" He's like, "I'd love that." He came, he shared insights in Sunday school, and it was just really good. Like, he was amazing. And so we go back and we're teaching another lesson with Claudia. We're running over the lessons again, and Miguel shows up, sits down, talks to us, listens to the lesson, really enjoys it. And we go, "Miguel, would you be interested in being baptized?" And he's like, "I don't see why not." And we're all like, "Oh, awesome. That would be amazing. That would be an amazing step you could take, just like Claudia did." And Claudia's face, her eyes got all big, and she looks down and she got red. And I was like, "Oh, did I say something wrong?" And Miguel turns to Claudia and is like, "You never told me you got baptized in this church." She's like, "Yeah, I did." And she looks at us. She's like, "Elders, I'd never told him I got baptized in your church." And we're like, "It's not a big deal. I mean, baptisms, it's special, but like, it's not the end of the world." And we talked to Miguel about it, and he was a little upset that he didn't know. And he's like, "I would have been there to support you, Claudia, if you would have told me that you were getting baptized." And she's like, "Well, I thought you would have been mad because we're all born and raised Catholic." And he's like, I don't care. We don't practice Catholicism, so why would I care? Anyways, Claudia and Miguel, they talked it out. And it was really good. We kept going back for lessons, and finally one day I looked at Miguel and I'm like, "Look, you've attended church multiple times. Like, I think it's time for you to get baptized." And he's like, Elder, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I'm married to Claudia, I live all the covenants and commandments. He's like, but I don't know, it doesn't feel right now. And so I actually ran through a baptismal interview with him, and dude was a star. Answered all the questions correctly, knew all the insights, everything. And he's all like, I don't feel like it's the right time. And we worked with him for weeks and months and on and on and on and on. And he's like, I'm not willing to commit. And it was kind of a bummer. But he told me, he said, Elder Passy, because when I was in Ushuaia, I was planning on having my parents come pick me up for my mission. And then that actually ended up changing right before I left Ushuaia. And so because of that, right at the end of my time in Ushuaia, I told him, I said, I'm not coming back. My parents aren't going to pick me up, but I might be back in October of the following or of next year. And with my family and everything, he said, Elder, when you come back, I'll be there to be baptized. I'll be ready. And that made me feel so good. And I was so excited. And it was really sad because COVID hit, and Miguel actually passed away to COVID, and it was really, really sad. I've got pictures of Miguel in here later on, and so you'll see those. So I'll make sure to comment on that. Anyways, Claudia's baptism was really great. That was just a little backstory about that. There's Sister Carrasco and Sister Gonzalez, and there's Sister Carrasco in her sling with her cast. So there's that. And then there's Claudia. That's so funny. Claudia looks so mad in that picture. She's not, I promise. So okay, so this is uh Tael. This is Karina and Omar, who we talked about in the last two episodes. This is their son that they had together. So this is Omar. I love Omar so much. This man is so smart. He is so handy. He can do literally anything you could ever imagine. He could rebuild a car, rebuild a table saw. He's just very, very handy, very smart guy. They're actually trying to move here to Utah right now, so it's pretty cool. Anyways, this is Tyel. He was maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks old at this point, and I had this little Futuro Misionero plaque, like for future missionary name tag, and so I was like, I'm gonna put it on him. So put it on him and took that picture, and it was so funny. I love that picture. Here's some fun pictures from that hike that Elder Dixon and I went on to Laguna Esmerelda. We found this tree stump, and so I hopped up there and I just threw up a couple of poses, and we took some fun pictures. So here's me preaching the Book of Mormon to the whole wide world with the I can't remember what this mountain is called in the background, but pretty cool. Blue Powerade. In high school, Blue Powerade was in my friend group. It was like code name for like if you kissed a girl or kissed a guy or anything. We'd be like, "Oh, did you get some Blue Powerade?" They'd be like, "Yeah." So it's actually in my yearbook as part of my senior quote. So silly, but it was funny. So Blue Powerades, they were like non-existent in my mission until I got to Ushuaia, and Ushuaia did a little bit of importation and exportation, and so they had like Monster drink, energy drinks, and Blue Powerades, and a couple of like other sodas. And so when I saw this, I was super excited. So I grabbed one to take on the hike with us, and then I took a picture with it, sent that home to my friend group. I told them I was like, dudes, I got some Blue Powerade in my mission, so and sent that picture. So it was kind of just a funny little joke. There's me with my Blue Powerade love right there. So, here's a contemplative picture of me. This is, I believe, Zone Conference. Yep, that's Zone Conference. I can't remember what happened, but we ended up just doing a Ushuaia Zone Conference. Generally, they always joined Rio Grande and Ushuaia together, but for some reason, we couldn't this transfer. So, they did just an Ushuaia Zone Conference, which was pretty cool. This is one of our assistants right here, Elder Tavares. This dude was awesome. Elder Singh, super cool as well. Um, but Elder Tavares is just I have a very high respect for him. He was my zone leader in Comodoro when I had my issues with Elder Rojas, and he was just a really really good friend to me. So I always really appreciated Elder Tavares. He spoke perfect Portuguese because he's from Brazil, perfect English because he studied it super well, and perfect Spanish. Um, I mean, to this point where if he was speaking Spanish, you thought he was from Argentina. If he was speaking Portuguese, you knew he was from Brazil. And if he was speaking English, you thought he was from the US. He just was phenomenal. Very, very intelligent guy. Here's our silly picture. There I am getting hit in the head with a soccer ball and um, my name tag on my ear, my tie in my mouth, and I'm on the phone. So that was kind of a fun picture. Oh, I totally forgot about these guys. These guys were so cool. So down in downtown Ushuaia, there was this empanada place that opened, and one day they were like giving out half price empanadas. We went in there and we ended up talking to the guys, and I think the main guy that owned it, his name was Ricardo, and I'm trying to remember. I think his buddy was Juan. Anyways, these guys were so cool. They're both from Buenos Aires. They came to kind of pursue their passion of this empanada place in Ushuaia, and they gave us free empanadas every time we went in there and talked to them. They were amazing. I always felt super bad. I was always like, "You guys don't have to give us empanadas," but they always did. They later ended up going out of business, which really made me so sad. And I wish I had contact with them because they were just like the most amazing people ever. But we ended up teaching them, and they ended up coming to church with us a couple of times. And they were just super cool guys, and they were super friendly, and they actually really enjoyed church. So that was pretty cool. They shut down their entire store just to come to church for us. So that was pretty cool. This was in my area, Montelivia. So we would follow this road. Um, we would walk on the side of the road right here all the way to church. It was a good 45-minute walk to an hour. Actually, crazy story. When we had zone conference one time, we walked to zone conference. So we got up extra early, hopped off, or the bus didn't come, so we just walked to zone conference. And by the time we got there, it was so cold outside. We walked into a hot church building that had been like had the heater on all day, and I felt like a popping sensation on my wrist, and I had my favorite watch. It was a nice skein watch, and I looked down and I felt this pop, and I look in the glass face. It was like a sapphire glass face, so like super strong, didn't scratch. I watched it just like pop, and then a crack just slowly go up the entire face of my watch, and I was like, oh no. It was such a sad experience. It made me super bummed, but it's all right. I still have the watch to this day, and I love that thing. It still works great, so I need to wear it more often. Um, Here is our district. I think we're doing a tsunami in our district. Oh no, this is P Day after zone conference because there's Elder Sing. We went on a fun little hike all together, and it was pretty cool. I'm trying to remember what hike. I think we did Laguna Esmeralda, and actually, I know that we did Laguna Esmeralda again, for like the second time in like 3 weeks. And I remember I'm walking with Elder Allen, and there's a point when the like path crosses over a stream, and Elder Allen like stepped off the path into on top of the ice because it was like this thick, and the ice collapsed, and he went head first into the stream, soaked head to toe. Yet we still went all the way to the top. And then he's like, I'm starting to get cold. I need to get moving. And then we ran all the way back. Elder Allen and I literally ran like miles. I think it's like a 6 mile hike. It's a long freaking hike. Anyways, we ran all the way back to like the place where the members that took us on the hike were gonna pick us up. So it was a bizarre experience. I felt bad that he went in like that. We actually did this hike one other time, and I think I have pictures of those later on, but all the sister missionaries fell in the water because the the ice caved in. So that was kind of funny. Here's Elder Dixon. I love this picture. Elder Dixon asked me to take this of him. This is over like the Commerce District part of Ushuaia, so it's pretty cool. Here's Elder Dixon and I having gnocchis. These are gnocchis. These are so good. It's I believe it's I'm not sure if it's a Brazilian food. I can't remember, but what it is, it's a potato noodle. What it is we would generally make them with the members, but you make it like a normal noodle out of flour, and then you mix potatoes in there, and then you boil them, and they're super good. They're very dense and very filling, and then you throw some ground beef with like a red sauce on top, and it's so good, freaking delicious. More pictures of Elder Dixon and I enjoying dinner at the Maures house. This was so cool. This is like backwoods area. This is in right in between La Cima and Dos Banderas. There's the two mountain ranges, La Cima, and then there's Dos Banderas in my mission. And this was like right dead center of those, and this was a path, and you'd follow all the way up. And somebody had built this with pallets. They put this down, and they built like a fencing on the side there. And when it would snow, all the snow would stick to the trees. And this is just a really cool picture that Elder Dixon took of me while we were walking. So pretty cool picture. Um, this in Right after this picture was taken, Elder Dixon biffed it super hard, and he smashed his face on the ground, and he had a bloody lip, and he was hurt pretty good. Um, that was just straight ice. After that, we had to go buy like crampons that are like these metal spikes that you would wear under your boots, and they gave us like these little crappy ones, but the spikes would fall out and get lost. And then we had to go buy like actual like icing crampons, and so we had to walk in this area. This is where we had the most success, though. We're up in these like super humble little areas. It's just where the people would like listen to us and receive us in their homes more than any other area in Ushuaia. Ushuaia was a really difficult area, as I said. The further south you get, the colder it gets. The colder it gets, the colder the people are. And that's very true, especially here in Ushuaia. And you can see these are those tanks that I was talking about. They don't have gas lines up here. They don't have electricity a lot of the times, and so a lot of their lights and like cooking resources come from these tanks. And then they have these guys that will like hike up here, and they'll pick up your tanks and they'll bring you new ones. It's pretty cool. Here we go. So this is the guy that I would always say would give us free food. He gave us a free pizza for Elder Dixon's birthday. They found out it was his birthday, and they made him a cake and a pizza, and they gave us soda. They were just so nice. This is Juan, and they were just amazing, amazing. Internet, do your thing and help me find this guy on Facebook because I want to get in contact with him. So there's Ushuaia, just from the Dos Banderas area. Sorry, I just Spanish that in there. This is from the Dos Banderas area. It's pretty cool. Um, Here's Laguna Esmeralda. This is the top. This is when the ice is frozen over. This is a picture with Elder Pedroso, Elder Avilas, and Elder Dixon. So they were companions for, or not Elder Dixon, but Elder Pedroso and Elder Avilas were companions for one transfer, and then Elder Pedroso became a zone leader in our zone, and he was companions with Elder Allen for a little bit. So there's Elder Allen, Sister Beasley, and I. This is We were all super tight, so we're all good friends. Here's Elder Dixon and I again at the Maura's house, and we're eating milanesas. Milanesas are genuinely my favorite food from Argentina. They're so good. They're just like giant chicken nuggets, pretty much. They're delicious. I love milanesa. Here's another cool picture from Laguna Esmeralda. Fun hike. Really, really cool area here. There's another picture from Dos Banderas. This is the top of Dos Banderas, which Dos Banderas means two flags. Which is funny because there's actually three flags here. So they had like the Argentine flag. I can't remember. This is like Ushuaia's flag or something like that. And then I don't remember what this was, but pretty cool. Some more pictures. This is over a man-made bridge that we found at Dos Banderas. That was pretty cool too. I really enjoyed those hikes. These hikes were a lot of fun. So this I think this was right at the end of my transfer with Elder Dixon. Actually, we got, as it says here in this, we got calls, transfer calls, and they're all like, Elder Dixon, you're leaving, and Elder Pastor, you're gonna go train. And I was like, oh shoot, I'm going to train again because Elder Dixon was still in his training. I finished his training, then he left the area, and I was called to train again. It was crazy too because Elder Peterson went from Ushuaia to Pico Truncado, and then Elder Dixon did the same exact thing two transfers later. He went from Pico Truncado or from Ushuaia to Pico Truncado too. By that time, Elder Peterson had actually left Pico Truncado, and he was a office secretary in our mission. So that was pretty crazy. Let's see here. Oh yeah, and when you go to train and you're in Ushuaia, you have to get up at like 3 in the morning. You have to be at the bus station by 4 on a bus, and then you take that bus. And that bus ride is generally 43 hours to the mission office. If there's not bad weather conditions, if there's wind, like super bad wind, you can't cross the bay. So you just don't get across the bay until the wind dies down. So you can literally sit on a bus for like 6 hours just waiting. So that's bizarre. Luckily, in the 3 or 4 times I did that bus ride, 3 times, in the 3 times I did that bus ride, I never had a problem. But crossing right there, but I know missionaries that literally would sit there 8, 10, 12 hours just waiting for the wind to die down. Another really cool picture from that. This is right around the area where Elder Allen went in head first and got soaking wet and had to run 6 miles back to where we started the hike to get in a member's car to heat up. So this is when I went to go pick up my greenie. This is Elder Singh, the office assistant, and we're at Cora's house in La Prensa in my second area. He served there as well. And we went to go visit her briefly. This is the watch of mine that cracked. I was super sad about. So this is really cool. And this is right before I get my greenie. This is David Vega. He was actually driving us back to the mission office so I could go pick up my greenie. So that we'll leave that for the next episode. You'll get to see my first official picking up of a greenie or a trainee in the mission. And we'll leave that for next time. Thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it. And I will see you on the next one. Later.